Luso. We have a question from JR from Zambia who says, and it starts where Simisiwe left. What is herd immunity, and how many people actually need to be vaccinated before we get to herd immunity? Luso.
Thank you so much, Professor, for asking that question. And thank you everyone for coming here today. I hope you will find this session useful. So I should start off by saying that we need a certain number of individuals to be immunized for us to reach herd immunity and halt the infections. So the safest way to do so, like my previous presenter said, is to get vaccination. So once you achieve herd immunity, it means that you are going to protect the vulnerable people, because there are some people in our community who cannot get the vaccine because of, medical conditions and side effects. So there are two ways of achieving herd immunity. You can do that by getting the vaccine as been presented in the last presentation, or you can let the population just get the infection, which is very dangerous. I think everyone knows how dangerous COVID-19 is. So I wouldn't advocate for that option, because we have seen fatalities and people being ill. So from the literature that I've seen, the percentage that is needed to acquire herd immunity is 67%. It's an estimate. So that means that once we reach 67% of the population being immune, we should be able to see the numbers dropping instead of rising. So it is very important for us to be vaccinated. On that note, I would say it is around 67%, but there is still research trying to verify the exact figure. Thank you.
Okay, that's great. I guess it's an economic issue, right? Israel has managed to vaccinate 100% of their population, but if we can get to 67% and still have money in the bank, then that's a good thing because COVID might bankrupt a lot of countries the way things are going. Rumbi, we have a question from Letabo in Botswana who says that, can I take the vaccine if I am HIV positive or I have some other long-term condition, maybe sickle cell, which is a big issue in the African population? Connie, Rumbi.
Oh, hi. So yes, I would start by saying yes, the COVID-19 vaccines are safe for most people that are over 18, including people that have got long-term or chronic conditions, for example, HIV, sickle cell, diabetes, hypertension. And for people that have sickle cell in the UK, they're also part of the priority people that we need to vaccinate because they're vulnerable. So the COVID-19 vaccines will bring the same benefit to patients with long-term illnesses such as HIV, the same benefit as to anyone who is not. And these benefits, like Simisiwe have said, to reduce the transmission and also to help reduce severe infection. So for HIV patients or anyone that is infected with HIV, or they should have the vaccine, or they are advised to or encouraged to have the vaccine irregardless of their CD4 count. And so as long as they have got a stable chronic condition, they can have the vaccine. And so some of the vaccines that we've had in the past that have got a similar mechanism of action, so the adenovirus vectors or the attenuated vaccines, for example, the yellow fever vaccines, they've been trialed in and they've been used in this in HIV patients, and there have been no severe side effects. So yes, it is encouraged to take the vaccine.
Thank you very much. A question for you, Dr. Wekwete. This is from Munyarazi in Zimbabwe. Why are we being offered the Chinese vaccines instead of the British ones? Should we trust the Chinese vaccines?
Thank you, Prof. The answer is yes, and I will explain. All the vaccines that received conditional marketing, emergency use authorization, or emergency use listing, the terms differ by territory. this vaccine had undergone phase 1 and phase 2 trials, and it commenced phase 3 at that point, and they were deemed to meet the WHO safety and efficacy standards. And for efficacy, all the vaccines that have received the conditional marketing, emergency use authorization, they have efficacy which is above 50%. And these trials that were conducted, they were done with integrity, and the results for most of these were published in peer-reviewed journals. So for the Chinese vaccines, they published their findings in peer-reviewed journals. Just to add on the Chinese vaccines, the ones that are currently in use in China, in UAE, Egypt, Bahrain, Jordan, Zimbabwe, and other jurisdictions, these are killed vaccines. I think Simisiwe described the different types of vaccines. These are killed vaccines. They are safe. They don't have a risk of reversion to virulence. It's a killed organism that is being administered, and it has no chance of regaining its ability to infect the person or to be shared in the environment and spread, possibly infecting other people. And the technology that was used in these inactivated vaccines is one of the oldest technologies. And according to Simisiwe's presentation, she showed that we have inactivated polio vaccine and other vaccines that have been used. So the technology itself is very safe compared to live attenuated and other modern technologies which have not been widely used. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you. Actually, one could hasten to say that the attenuated vaccines are also less vulnerable to the resistant strains, because they actually reflect the whole makeup of the vaccine. Old technology, but still works.